If not that, some people took, like when they say, when they took the bullet, the bashing, to go online to cry out. This result would have remained like this, because it was like JAMB didn't even know that they had a glitch until people started complaining. Because if there was no outcry, people had just kept quiet, like, okay, maybe I just failed, I will try again. JAMB wouldn't know what happened. So, those affected by the glitch that affected JAMB result, the 2025 JAMB result, should be retaking their exams by now. Yes, that is where we are as a country, sadly. You can imagine the emotional roller coaster these candidates have to go through. Having been done with a particular level and you're now told you're going to go back to do it again. Like, it's really sad. This is just a mess. I don't know how JAMB got entangled in this kind of, situation. It's just not looking good. Now, for those who do not know how we got here. So last Friday, JAMB released the 2025 UTME result. That's the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination result. That's JAMB result. So what followed it was a public outcry because the results were very poor. So people started complaining. The complaint was more or less bashing these candidates that they don't read anymore. People saying that instead of them to be focused on their studies, they are, rather focusing on other frivolous, things, maybe social media or, things. So people actually were bashing those people for not reading. The outcry was something else. However, there were some people who, when you know yourself, you know what you're capable of, you have to speak up. And some people did. They believed that something wasn't adding up. They had to go on social media to cry out. This is not my result. They actually called out JAMB and calling for a review of their results because they were very sure of what they wrote. And I actually, commended these people because in a country like Nigeria where you can be bashed for anything, these people were bold enough because JAMB is not an easy exam to pass. So if you're bold enough to say, this is not what I got, I am thinking there's something wrong, that means you are very sure of yourself. So there were people who actually went on social media like this one.
Hello everyone, I want to talk about JAMB 2025. Last year I wrote JAMB, I got a score of 297 and I registered for system engineering in UTME, but due to some hitches in UTME and WAEC, I could not go there. So this year I wrote JAMB, I came prepared, I had studied over 25 past questions. Just to wake up this morning and check my JAMB results, and I got 155, which is very ridiculous because in the first place, all the mock and CBT exams that I've written, I have never ever gotten less than 250, which is very surprising and shocking that JAMB can give me a score of 155. I don't know what to say, and I want everyone in Nigeria to speak up on this because this is not the result. I've heard many complaints from Twitter and from different social media apps that people that did very well last year, that are capable of doing very well, are getting extremely low marks, like me. Because I had my exam on Monday the 28th, and it's like most people on that Monday they had problems because my system logged me out two times. So I don't know, maybe as it logged me out, the answer maybe submitted for me or something. So I really want to know what the problem is with JAMB. JAMB should be able to tell us what the problem is, and like where someone like me can drop from 297 to 155, which is painful because I don't know who is going to answer me now or where this message. But please, I want everybody to come together if you are facing this same trouble as me. Let's come together because we need to speak up. This cannot go like this.
Now, there's this lawyer who wrote, posted on social media and said, "Dear JAMB, my brother's JAMB result just came out and it's not adding up. This is someone with a consistent record of academic excellence. We can't accept this result. Too much effort and sleepless night went into preparation. This is so unfair. Please review. We are not dullards in our family. I had 278 in 2017 UI law. My sister 320. Unilag pharmacy 2020. So explain how my brother will have 278 first trial and then 169 now. Co-possible. That is not possible. Top 3 students in his school. Former assistant head boy. This boy has represented Lagos State in competitions. You see, these people were very sure that something wasn't adding up. And they called on JAMB to review the result. Now, talking about someone who is so sure of his siblings' capability. Wow. Anyway, like I said, people started bashing them, calling them all sort of names. But alas, they were vindicated. Like a sweet victory for these people. So on Tuesday, the 14th of May 2025, a high-power technical review session was convened at the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB headquarters in Abuja. The meeting was presided over by the registrar, of course, Professor Is-haq Oloyede. The reason for the gathering was to unravel the root cause behind the unexpected poor candidate performance and to establish clear mitigative measure to restore confidence in the integrity of the UTME assessment process. So yeah, after the public outcry, they decided that, okay, let's take a second look at this. So that was why they convened that meeting. So after the meeting, JAMB, I don't know who handles your social media. They went ahead to post this. Man proposes, God disposes. It has been established that a technical glitch affected 157 centers out of the 887 centers in the 2025 UTME. This was basically responsible for the general low performance of candidates scheduled to sit the exam in those centers. As such, all the affected candidates will be contacted to reprint their examination slips towards retaking their examinations starting from 16th May 2025. Like bringing God into this? Really? Man proposes, God disposes? Wow. You see, even when it has been rumored that, someone actually took a life or lost her life because of the sad outcome of the result, man proposes, God disposes is just unnecessary. It's really unnecessary, and it was just insensitive. I don't know how you say it. There was no tone of remorse, tone of being sorry, or tone of like, hold on a bit, let's calm down. It's like, oh, mistakes do happen, and we've told them we're going to retake it. No, these are children who are about to start life academically, higher institution, and then you just want to play it off like, okay, these things happen. But thank God for the emotional intelligence of the registrar. He took it upon himself, took the responsibility of this whole mess, and then offered an emotional apology to the nation.
Registrar of JAMB, I hold myself personally responsible including for the negligence of the service provider and I unreservedly apologize for it. and the trauma it has subjected affected Nigerians to, directly or indirectly. We have decided that all the candidates affected in the 157 centers of the 882 be contacted to retake their examinations. These candidates are to be contacted through text messages addressed to their registered phone number from tomorrow, their email addresses, their profiles, and phone calls by JAMB. They are directed to reprint their examination slips for the rescheduled examination dates.
So a total of 157 centers across the nation was affected. And the centers were in Lagos and all the 5 southeastern states. Yes, Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Abia, Ebonyi, they were all affected. 379,997 candidates out of the 1.9 million who registered for JAMB were affected. Now people started asking, all the 5 southeastern states affected. So people were now wondering, was this like a calculated attempt to sabotage, candidates in the southeast? That was, people were not thinking that, how come that Lagos was just thrown in there to make it look like, okay, Lagos is there. But all the states in the southeast, all of them affected, nowhere else, all of them. So I could understand those people's sentiment, but some people are now saying that no, that it couldn't have been that it's calculated towards them, because if JAMB is now calling for a receipt or retake of this exam, that means it's not like it was calculated towards them. Now, my opinion is I agree, or I'm tempted to agree that it wasn't a calculated attempt, towards people in the southeast. However, for those saying that if it was calculated, then they will call for a retake. No. If not that, some people took, like when they say, they took the bullet, the bashing, to go online to cry out. This result would have remained like this, because it was like JAMB didn't even know that they had a glitch until people started complaining. So don't make it look like these people don't have any reason to think that way. Because if there was no outcry, people had just kept quiet, like, okay, maybe I just failed, I will try again. JAMB wouldn't know what happened. So for those saying that it wasn't calculated, that if it was, JAMB wouldn't have called for a retake. No, JAMB called for a retake because people cried out. People called them out. So what would have invariably happened would have been that all those people would have been unfairly failed for an exam that they probably would have passed. And then to now look like Southeast had the worst result. All the states. So you see why people are tempted to believe that there was a sabotage, even if I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, without it, many poor results could have gone unchallenged, ultimately leaving these candidates to suffer the consequences of the glitch that JAMB wasn't aware of, until people started voicing their concern. And that is where my fear or concern is. So you didn't know that there was a problem with your system? So who knows how many years or different JAMB years that this kind of things would have happened, and nobody, because they were not bold enough to cry out just like the people in this set did. And JAMB, we all in Nigeria, we know how JAMB jams people. I know how many times I wrote JAMB. So it's a very serious situation. It's a very serious situation. Well, they have rescheduled. I mean, that is a starting point to, you know, kind of reset this whole thing. So they've scheduled an exam for 16th of May all through to the 19th of May. If for nothing, JAMB, you have to even take this serious, because can you imagine the amount of money that would have been spent on this examination? And now you're going to now spend another one for the retake? Sahara Reporters is reporting that JAMB spent 535 million on installation of servers, supervision of controversial UTME examinations. So this exam we're talking about here, so this is the amount spent. And then they came out with that result. Meanwhile, people are commending, the registrar for taking responsibility, for being accountable to the people. And I'm like, Nigeria. What am I even saying? I can actually understand why people are commending the man. Even if that is his, it happened under his watch, he is solely responsible for anything, because I'm wondering if I'm the one that's supposed to take responsibility, or who else. It happened under his watch. He is the one in charge. So yeah, he's supposed to apologize, because Nigeria, what we usually see, the bar is so low that when somebody does anything that negatively affects the people, they just move on. Some will not even give any apology. Some will not even behave like anything happened. They will not relieve them of their duties. They will not resign. They will just move on as if nothing happened. But if it's saner climes, if it's some sane environment, this man is supposed to resign. This man is supposed to resign. But here we are praising him for taking responsibility for his job, what he's being paid to do. We're here applauding him. But like I said, I understand. In Nigeria, taking responsibility or being accountable is just a very tall order. It's not a thing here. So when we see people who do what they were supposed to do, something as basic as taking responsibility for an institution where you preside over, is like a big deal. And you see, Nigerian institutions, we need to get serious. Economy might be bad, but our institutions just need to work. It's bad enough that we are trying to build trust back in our education system, and then this. People are saying that over the years, JAMB have tried to do things the proper way, but how would we know? Like I said, it's not like they came out as an ahead to tell us that we have this. There is a problem. There's a glitch. People had to cry out before you actually came out to say yes. There's actually this. Especially when these people that came to cry out were already getting bashed for them being responsible for their failure. Well, thank God. But the real MVPs here are those who were confident enough to come out to cry out. Trust me, this would have gone against them. It actually went against them initially, because before JAMB took responsibility, people were already bashing them. So they risked it all just for every other person. So to those affected, I extend my solidarity and hoping that, this second retake goes well for you people. But on a serious note, our institutions need to be careful. They need to work. Because, people's livelihood, people's lives, people's future, people's career depends on most of these institutions. So we can't just be doing same old, same old. Everybody needs to sit up. If for nothing, this JAMB incident should actually teach us a lot of lessons. I just hope people are watching, people are listening, and most importantly, people will apply the principles, the lessons learned from this episode, because it's really not a good thing. If truly somebody died because of this. It's really sad. And you see, those who would have passed on that first take, they might right now get something close because of where they are emotionally. Institutions need to be careful, really. Yes, they have apologized. Yes, they will retake it. But you see, the bigger picture here is, let's look beyond medicine after death, because some of all these things are avoidable. We don't have to always let things happen first before we want to start looking for solution. Now, moving forward, while we've taken the apology, yes, they are retaking it. Moving forward, what are the modalities? What are the plans put in place to avoid this thing from happening again in the nearest future? That should be the real apology. Not just apologize to retake. What are the things you should come out to say, okay, these are the things we're putting in place to avoid this kind of thing again, because it is just a disgrace to JAMB, and it's just a disgrace to the country. It's not a good thing. It's just not a good image for us. So yeah, it's a good thing that they've apologized, like I said, but moving forward, what steps they have to take is what will determine if this apology really is an apology. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. For those who have been following it, what do you think? What should be done? Let's continue in the comment section. I see you again in my next video. Bye for now.